and your drive. They are the founders of the LGBT movement in China and Taiwan. And we welcome. Again and again, we show up for each other, add new people to our family, and unfortunately at times lose members of our family. We've had an unusual number of deaths this year. Our staff and board members lost parents, grandparents, key task force volunteers, and tragically a child. And we lost a dear friend and co-worker in Sandy Green, who, as many of you know, was an extraordinary woman who worked for the task force for a decade and greeted people at Creating Change at the registration desk every year. It was Sandy. Sandy was not afraid to say that as a Black, straight woman, she was part of the family working for civil rights for all. I so wish you could have seen the president's speech. She would have loved it. But loss doesn't weaken us. It doesn't have to weaken us. In this room of our chosen family, as well as those who are miles away and could not be with us, but who are family too, we must choose to be strengthened. We have known for a long time that unfortunately, there are those who dedicate themselves to trying to tear us apart, to separate us, to undermine the social progress and justice we have won. It's certainly something we've seen here in the South, something we still see. But as a movement, we can learn from our brothers and sisters in the South about sticking together as a social justice family, about perseverance, and about resistance. The politics of division and greed, the vestiges of slavery that still shape opinion and policies and still contribute to a modern systemic disenfranchisement that is yet to be overcome. This is our struggle too. And those who seek to divide us need to take a look at this room. More than 3,000 out, proud, determined, not intimidated, not going anywhere, here in Atlanta, reaffirming our chosen family, our bonds of love together. Nothing can divide us. Not after what we've all been through together. I saw the true power of this commitment and this strength on election night. I was in Maine on election night. A few Mainers in the room. After a late night celebration, and being up until 4 a.m. waiting on the news of our brothers and sisters in other states, I got up, headed to the airport the next morning, proudly wearing my shockingly bright orange Yes on One t-shirt. I understand Minnesota knows that orange too. Person after person, almost all of them straight, kept coming up and saying, finally, finally, finally. They were sharing in our joy. As I was enjoying a celebratory lobster roll at the airport for breakfast, they have really good lobster rolls in the airport. This woman came up to me and she introduced herself as Sue, of course drawn by my orange t-shirt. She's a longtime Mainer and a captain in the U.S. Coast Guard. She gave me what is called a challenge coin from the U.S. Coast Guard, given for going above and beyond the call of duty. And she said, this is to remind you of who you are working for, who you are helping, and by implication, how much we still have left to do, and what we will need to do to defend our wins. I was inspired by Sue and how even though she has privilege, She will benefit as a service member from the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and she and her partner, who she's known since she was a kid, will now have the choice to get married in Maine if they want to. She has challenged me to remember that every day our work remains incomplete. And those of us who do have some privileges must never mistake that for real equality or freedom for all. I carry this challenge coin with me now. It's a little constant weight in my pocket, reminding me that as we win in some areas like marriage, we must always be clear that we are not a one-issue movement. We are not a marriage-only movement. We are not an employment-only movement. We are not any other only movement.
That's right.
We are a movement that cares broadly about the issues that affect our lives. Some days, I wake up astonished at the pace of progress. But I also wake up angry about the lack of basic protections for LGBT people in our families. And I think about how, as we're in the spotlight because of our progress on marriage, it can actually be more challenging to draw attention to the many other issues that affect our lives. We must educate our own community, and we must educate our country. We must choose, as a basic moral value, never to leave any of our movement's family behind. Extraordinary progress in states that now have marriage equality, and I'm thankful, I'm married. But guess what? In a number of states where we have marriage equality, we still do not have full protections for LGBT people. Think about it. Think about it. In the coming months, thousands of couples will go to Maine, Maryland, Washington, and the other states in DC where marriage is legal. Their friends and family will surround them, and they will have the weddings of their dreams. And they, like our straight friends, will naturally go home, place a picture perhaps of their wedding on their desk at work, and some of them will be fired. They will get fired simply because they are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender, and it is perfectly legal to do so. In 4 states where marriage equality is legal, a couple can invite their transgender friends to their wedding. But if those friends try to check into a hotel, they could easily and legally be denied a room, simply because they are transgender. Think of that. Think of that, of the recent voter suppression efforts, of the violence committed against transgender people, of the immigration discrimination, of the skyrocketing HIV infection rates in our own community, when someone questions whether or not we still have work to do. Yes, as marriage equality takes a wider hold, and 5 or more Supreme Court justices willing, we will finally end government-sponsored discrimination against couples on a federal level. Our progress on marriage has made more apparent the dangers for those who could still be left behind by our movement and by our country. As a movement, as activists, as human beings, we are called in the very midst of our joy, of our celebration, to say it is not enough unless our entire family can experience full freedom, justice, and equality. It is not enough for parents who send their children off to school each day worried if he or she will return home with a black eye a broken rib, a crushed self-esteem, or worse. It is not enough when many of us believe we are safe, but only because we have the economic privilege to move to a different city or neighborhood. That is not freedom. That is not freedom. We will never be free until every single one of us feels safe to express ourselves sexually, intellectually, and spiritually, and find support in our homes, places of worship, and our workplaces. But I have hope. Actually, I'm beyond